This is Sybert signing into Kane's Wrath on the map Tournament Dustbowl. No poker for this 1v1 featuring our red black hand player in the north. This is BikeRushOwnz. And as the pink playing Marked of Kane in the south, give it up for Space. Space and BikeRushOwnz playing a lot of games recently. I feel like the second half of 2021, they have been a power couple, much like we saw Futurama and Drive be a power couple, I guess, for most of 2020, maybe even before that. I don't know. I wasn't watching games. 2020 and much of 2021 as well. Drive and Futurama, an absolutely beautiful power couple here in Kane's Wrath. And Space, BikeRushOwnz forming their own power coupleship. A little bit unusual with a random v random that we get Black Hand versus Marked of Kane. So like sometimes when we see the Steel Talons versus Zocom, we get ourselves a little sub-faction battle. Black Hand traditionally viewed as the more powerful of the two factions, but Black Hand certainly has or seems to have a late game problem. Now, Marked of Kane has its own myriad of problems, but oftentimes players look to reduce those problems by, of course, abusing the Marked of Kane EMP as much as possible. So we'll have to see. What does Space have planned for us? Is it going to be pretty bog standard Nod v Nod match? In this case, one buggy, three bikes coming out right from the gate. Both players, two bikes get sniped by each player, and it looks like Bike manages to sneak away with just a smidge of health on his third remaining bike. And that is exactly what always seems to happen with BikeRushOwnz. The exact same units clashing in the exact same way, and yet BikeRush's units come out ahead. He keeps his bike alive, he gets the kills on his opponent, and, you know, his bikes and buggy were on the opposite side of the map. They were both doing the same thing. They both went down or up the left side of the map, but Space was 15 seconds behind BikeRushOwnz, and that is sort of the story of BikeRush in a nutshell. He's 15 seconds ahead of everyone, he has the exact same stuff, and yet he still comes out with a win. And that is how it feels a lot of the time. That is how a lot of people feel about BikeRush. He's got a really high win percentage in general, but we'll have to see if Space can do something to mess that up. These guys have been playing a lot of matches with each other. Maybe Space is the one to unlock a little bit of a secret against BikeRushOwnz. BikeRushOwnz going to be losing an additional bike there, but he swings in, he gets away with a kill, and, well, it looks like he might get cleaned up there, and nicely done by Space. Space holds the line. He wins that engagement by, I think, a total of one bike, which sort of evened things up for where they were, but Space handled that really well. Second War Factory coming out for Space. Now it's going to be the third refinery on the other side of the map by BikeRushOwnz. He drops the barracks at the expansion. He's getting out a couple of rocket squads, but he pauses them. No more rockets coming out. Back into the bike buggy for Bike. Everything looking pretty standard. Lots of bikes, lots of buggies, maybe even some rocket squads for both players. And there's now going to be the third refinery, the first refinery on the expansion, coming up for Space. It's a tad behind that of BikeRushOwnz, but the additional forces should make up for the difference. 3 bikes v1. Bike wins the first round, but of course he's going to trade against these other forces of Space. Space gets the drop, and Bike goes for the kill. Might as well get the guaranteed kill with his bike when he's up against those kind of numbers. Bike goes for an additional harvester. Only one War Factory means he's not pumping harvesters and bikes at the same time. He's trying to keep the pressure on the other side of the map, and this has actually given BikeRush an opportunity to drop that extra refinery. It's not a War Factory, so a big delay on the second War Factory. Going pure eco is BikeRushOwnz instead of 2 War Factories. And usually his defense is good enough to play a little bit greedy, a little bit earlier, and get away with it. Space, on the other hand, little more defensive, little more cautious, has the bike buggy advantage, doesn't cross the map with it. Clears out a building here on this side of the map, drops a laser turret, more cash spent in the defense, not spent on economy. His economy was that much slower than BikeRushOwnz, and we're going to see that kind of come to bear as these two guys harvest away at their natural expansions. BikeRushOwnz is going to clear his out sooner. He's going to have that bigger cash influx, but we'll see if that translates to a bigger viable army, or Space is able to make something happen. Operations Center is down. It gets spotted by Space. There's the sell-off. Good couple of Cabal squads going to be here to put the pressure on. Going to be keeping the Secret Shrine around for just a moment longer as he gets those upgrades, and this is a full clear of every single bike by BikeRushOwnz. Space got maybe 2-3 shots off against the forces of BikeRushOwnz. Everything goes down. That was a very expensive scouting move from Space. I'm sure he intended that to be a bit more, but he was unable to make it work, and he just lost absolutely everything to the quick sell of BikeRushOwnz, and he gets his tier 3 up nice and quick. We'll have to see how the charged particle beams work out versus the supercharged particle beams, and if it comes to an obelisk push between the two of them, I think my money is probably on BikeRushOwnz. MCV moving out to the third base for Space. Hasn't quite left yet for BikeRushOwnz, but there is the clincher. There is the Tib chemical plant, and the scout is going to come in. He's going to get vision, I think, just barely of that refinery. No, maybe not. I assume he would have dropped that catalyst missile. We'll keep an ear out for the audio cue, and it looks like this MCV is getting spotted. BikeRushOwnz may actually be predicting that there is a refinery queued up behind this, and BikeRushOwnz may actually want to click the refinery just as it spawns in. So we'll see if that is the play here by BikeRushOwnz. He doesn't quite get it, but he's going to get the harvester. Maybe. No, he doesn't. He spends all of his... Oh, he was hoping Space would commit to that, but Space mostly pulled away. He still lost a couple of bikes and a buggy, and there's going to be the chemical missile coming in. There's the sell-off. Good call by Space. EMP's locking him down, and this is Space's opportunity. Supercharged particle beam's going to make short work of those bikes. Bike gets pushed away, but there is a little bit of crowd on the left side of the map of no consequence, I think, at this point. And is Space going to supercharged particle beam him to death? Maybe not, but we're starting to see a lot of shredder turrets, maybe even just getting sold off here as BikeRushOwnz encroaches on the base of Space. Charged particle beams out for Bike, so a match of upgrades. Black Hand Squad into the Redeemer, and of course no Black Hand Squads on the side of our Marked of Kane brethren, but no stealth on the side of BikeRushOwnz, so we'll see if that comes to bear. So far, stealth has not been a factor in this game. Space keeping his distance from that stealth. Spectre getting the shots off. MCV is here, and BikeRushOwnz, well, he's going to start to work away at this base. He's going to get himself some free damage, force a laser fence out, and it's going to be up to Space to respond to this. I love the garrisoning of the buildings. A little bit of an early warning system by BikeRushOwnz. Once again, BikeRushOwnz manages to get the scout one way or another on the base of Space. Purifier walks in, and it's going to be Redeemer versus Redeemer, Obelisk versus Obelisk, sell-off of the Secret Shrine, and there's going to be another EMP coming up, a costly sell there. Just one EMP for that Secret Shrine. Meanwhile, on the left side of the map, it's going to be the MCV. No, it's 3 transferring harvesters, and BikeRushOwnz pulls his rockets away at just the wrong time. Spectre's coming out for Space. Purifier's going to march their way to the front line. Here's 2 power plants that could be sold off, as these obelisks are barely starting to clear away the obelisks, the Purifiers, but it's not enough. It's not fast enough. It's not enough, and there's going to be 3 dead harvesters. BikeRushOwnz with a critical mistake, making one misstep against Space, and Space has found the opportunity to shut down the third base eco of BikeRushOwnz. BikeRushOwnz wants to fight on the right side of the map, but he's going to be going up against the EMP boy himself. Black Hand Squad member gets cleaned up there as these Spectres trying to push back this MCV build radius, push back that War Factory. There's the EMP ready to come in. It whiffs, it misses the Redeemer. The Redeemer walks away. BikeRushOwnz with the long distance harvest on this field, steals a load of Tiberium and walks his Redeemer right out of the front line. Nice and safely. No one has a refinery on the front line. No one has a third field, and it's going to be harvester hunting time on the left side of the map for Space. He finally gets cleaned up, pushed back out of BikeRush's natural, but BikeRush has all but given up on that location. The MCV pulls back to the left side of the map, and BikeRush has now given up on this location as well. He is going to cede control of this field, though half harvested it already is. He's going to cede control to Space. BikeRushOwnz is probably thinking a little bit longer, a little bit later towards the game, and it's up to Space to stop BikeRushOwnz from running away with this match. Spectres can clear out these buildings pretty easy. I don't know if he wants to use Tib Troopers for that, but for now, BikeRushOwnz drops his first refinery on his third base. Transferring harvesters over. Only a couple of minutes ago, BikeRush had +3, maybe +4 or 5 harvesters on the field. He's been cut down severely, but he's still got a bit of a stronghold here on the right side of the map. Infantry squads running through the field. Black Hand members going to tango with these bikes, burn them down. BikeRushOwnz getting maximum efficiency as much as possible there with those units, getting kills on bikes with basically nothing as his Redeemer eats another harvester, and Space is bleeding every which way, but he believes in the EMP. He believes in the power of the lockdown. Double EMPs. That Spectre, he wants to make sure that he gets the kill on it. Where are his own Spectres finally launching their shot there? No. The Spectre survives. And there they land their damage, they land their shot. 3 Awakened squads move forward. BikeRushOwnz encroaching on the left side of Space's base, and this is just too much firepower. It's not a particularly strong army, especially as much of it is actually decoys and not actually a real army at all. Is this even a real purifier? I think it is. There's the EMP as Space rushes in for the defense. It's going to be all about the shredder turrets. It's going to be all about the bikes and the EMPs as he locks down one of the purifiers. He narrowly doesn't get the kill. He loses the build radius, and that does it for that base. Bike cleans up his husk and walks home. No, he keeps up the assault. He's going to keep up the pressure, and he's even burning down an upgraded power plant with just a random Black Hand squad. BikeRushOwnz getting value from every direction, finding a weakness, finding an opening every chance he can. Double refinery, lots of harvesters, but Space is here. He's got this stealth, and it is factoring into this game, stealing a load of Tiberium from under BikeRush's nose, and BikeRushOwnz doing nothing about it. The infantry getting a little bit of vision of that, I think, in a moment, but not quite yet. Tib Troopers get absolutely wasted, and this is a fully heroic 3-squad member Black Hand team burning down a power plant, and they don't get the kill on the power plant, but they almost get it. BikeRushOwnz turns around. He's ready to rest up a little bit, try and heal his wounds. His Redeemer stomping all over the map, trying to get a win, and now Space, who has turned this, very typical bike buggy game into something that he's actually got a chance of winning against BikeRushOwnz. It's not a great chance, but he's got a chance. Don't you love when notifications kick you out of a full screen app? I think the recording is okay. Bike's swinging in for Space. This is not the most worthwhile harvester, but Space is going to have to deal with a nuclear missile, and I think that's a real one. That would be quite the spot to put a fake nuclear missile if you really wanted to fool your opponent into thinking it's real. BikeRushOwnz pulls more infantry down to the left side of the map. Neither player has killed off the other's Tib Spike. There's one EMP locking down a bike. The Harvester does survive the engagement. The EMP's whiff, but there is going to be the Catalyst Missile. Gets both refineries. Good pull there by BikeRushOwnz, getting both refineries. And on the other side of the map, I don't think Space has used a single one-click. He has been relying just on his own Tib Core bikes to get the job done. And there's the cashback that BikeRushOwnz was looking back there at his natural expansion. Long way to drive to unload that Tiberium. It's a dangerous road to trek for these harvesters, but Space has done a pretty good job of defending them thus far. BikeRushOwnz burns down the tib spike, and he moves on to the base. Space is losing so much ground against BikeRushOwnz, but he's here now with Enlightened. Are you kidding me? He's going to try and take down BikeRushOwnz, and actually the Spectres are going to be the thing that really gets the job done. Spectres will clean out the infantry nice and quick, but not fast enough to stop them from burning down 2 Nod power plants. Because nothing, not even a bike, not even a rifleman, not even an engineer, has less health than a Nod power plant. It's written in the rules, it's written in the laws that nothing will have less health than a Nod power plant. BikeRushOwnz with just 1 harvester doing the jankiest harvest of this field. He's got so much cash, and that harvester almost just went back and unloaded that little couple of dollars worth of Tiberium. And okay, Space is ready for it. You see all of this EMP potential he has got under his belt. He's not one-clicking, but boy is he ready to click Bike Rush into the Stone Age. Double MCV for BikeRushOwnz, starting to encroach on the main base, the original base of Space. It's been long abandoned. Additional MCV in the south for Space. He has not been in solid control of this game, but if he can win one big, major fight against BikeRushOwnz and also keep a refinery online for longer than 2 minutes, he may actually take this game. He may actually be able to hold his head up high against BikeRushOwnz. But it's going to come down to the EMPs. Big TIG vein detonation, but I think it was actually a relatively minor amount of damage. Not a good cost-efficiency ratio for BikeRushOwnz. And BikeRushOwnz is not out of steam yet, but he's also not going full steam ahead with the amount of Tiberium under his control. This harvester had better be unloading full loads of Tiberium. We'll see in just a moment, but BikeRushOwnz, he's going to have the pressure brought to him. The MCV might take a lot of damage if this Redeemer gets a shot off. BikeRushOwnz sees the opportunity, misses it. I think he might have been going for the Rage Gen there to try and get more shots against that MCV. As these Enlightened squads gets burned down, and BikeRushOwnz is going to start the war with the Shredder turrets. That is the thing to do as these Shredders start taking on the buildings of BikeRushOwnz. Space, he's got his commando. This is not a Zocom commando. It's not sneaking through. Okay, that harvester is indeed doing its job. 2 flame tanks and a 3rd ready to go. Of course, the classic 18-minute, 30-second flame tank rush along the southern side of the map. 2 more flame tanks coming into the 3rd base. The EMP hitting his own purifier, but it's going to force the flame tanks away, and this is the perfect opening, the perfect opportunity. Can he get it? Double EMP! Space lands the kill, and he gets the delay on those flame tanks, but is it going to be enough? Yes, the bikes are here. Another EMP to lock down the flames. A perfect response from Space. He gets the kill on the flame tank in the north. Purifying flame will not be enough for you, BikeRushOwnz. Space is going to clean up every single flame tank, and I think that was all 3 along the southern edge of the map. The tip spike still stands for BikeRushOwnz, still clicking away with that economic advantage, but I mean, really, the Tiberium is what you want. Not necessarily just that single tib spike in the northern part of the map. We'll keep an eye on it, depending on how long this game goes out. Space has got himself the best opportunity, perhaps right now, right here, to try and take the fight to BikeRushOwnz. Purifier in the north is going to try and burn down this base. BikeRush knows what's coming. He fires off a Rage Gen in the middle of the map, and he's going to be going for the fire sale up top. Everything gets eliminated. He wants the cash back, but he knows that Purifier is coming for his undefended base. Space has the EMP, and he's actually landing the shots. Force firing on the ground. What a move, what a play by Space. He misses it, but that would have been amazing if he had actually been able to make that work. 2 bikes here to try and stand up against this Purifier. There's the cell to try and get some more guns on this Purifier. More power plants to try and keep that nuclear missile alive as the obelisks get deployed on the front line. Can Space actually do it? He's been getting overshadowed by BikeRush in all 2021, but can he finally step forward into his his own right. He might have the opportunity, but Space still has not gone the distance yet. He gets 2 more harvesters. He's starting to do it. He's starting to work BikeRushOwnz and break him. The nuke counts down to 1 minute, and BikeRushOwnz is going to have a big game-ending explosion to potentially knock down Space's army. Losing those 2 harvesters may not be the end of the world. BikeRushOwnz still has enough harvesters to keep his other bases happy. Could send another one up north to harvest away those fields and get the long-distance mining on his main. Space is encroaching. He might need to start spreading out his army. He's not going to get the nuke. He's not going to stop it, but he's going for the power plants. He's going for the delay as BikeRushOwnz sends power, well, a flame tank, a purifier. What else can he throw along the north side of that map to try and sneak into Space's base? Space goes for as much stealth as possible, I think. Yeah, he wants to hide what exactly BikeRushOwnz can hit. He gets the rage gen, causes a little bit of chaos, and a power plant goes down. 5 seconds on the clock, and Space cannot stop the nuke. It's coming for him, but the bikes in the south get eliminated. The nuke is ready to go, and where will BikeRush launch it? The Redeemer steps forward. I don't think a nuke kills a Redeemer, so BikeRushOwnz is going to have to be careful where he uses this. The best choice might actually be this base over here. His bikes come in. No Tib core missiles for Bike this whole game long. Never got the upgrade, and they finally all go down. He gets a little bit of vision of this base over here on the right side of the map, and Space, again, just trying to keep everything hidden, keep everything out of sight of BikeRushOwnz. He might be trying to wait for the kill on the Redeemer. If he can get the Redeemer down in health a little bit, then he can get the kill as the Spectres get their shots. Nuke lands on the War Factory, gets 3 Spectres as well, clears out the buildings and a chunk from the con yard. The stealth in the top right is still there. The obelisk gets deployed. There's the EMP. It's go time as Space is going to come for BikeRushOwnz. It's army to army, infantry to infantry, MCV to MCV as the obelisk falls and the purifier goes for the kill. He's going to burn the power plants. He's going to burn the MCV as the EMPs are the only hope for Space to kill the Redeemer of BikeRushOwnz. 2 obelisks get up, but are the Shredder turrets going to be enough? The MCV survives. Space manages to hold on for just a moment longer, but is it going to be enough? The flame tank gets sniped in the ashes of the nuclear fallout. The battle will be won or lost. Space's MCV falls as the 2 obelisks stand strong against the never-ending infantry horde of BikeRushOwnz. A hand of Nod gets deployed on the front line, and BikeRushOwnz says, "This game is mine. You will not have your win here today. It is my power and nothing else that will suffice." The Rage Gen burns down the infantry army. The flame tank pulled out of the midst of it. 1 engineer managing to survive as a purifier falls north of the Redeemer. A Spectre gets annihilated. More engineers onto the front line by BikeRushOwnz. Another hand of Nod as his first got friendly fired to death. MCV in the south, it's exposed, it's open. BikeRushOwnz knows the vulnerability. He is heading for it. There is going to be the grab of the engineer, the snipe, the kill by Space. Space gets the purifier. He's going for the kill. A flame tank escapes his notice, but it's going to be lights out for that base if BikeRush has nothing left to defend. 2 Shredder turrets back at home. The flame tank closes in, but it's not enough HP. He's not going to be able to burn everything down in time. Unless it's just barely. There's 2 Shredder turrets left, and the infantry are doing the work. BikeRushOwnz comes through, and now the MCV is under threat. But no, the EMP buys a moment longer. The Redeemer closes in, and BikeRushOwnz moments away from eviscerating this base, but it stands tall to be burned another day. The Purifier unable to defeat BikeRushOwnz. One way or another, he took it down or pushed it away. He still survives with a base in the north. The bikes head back out for Space. Space, with the infrastructure and no army. 1 MCV alone, abandoned in the southern quadrant of the map. The Tib spike still under the control of BikeRushOwnz, and there they have been spotted. It's not going to be a radar jamming missile that saves you. They have been spotted. The disruption to your opponent's mentality is not enough, and Space is slowly losing control of this game. The EMPs that I thought would be his savior have fallen flat. One more flame tank down. BikeRushOwnz with a good amount of Tiberium near his base, but does he have the harvesters for it? One harvester, 2 refineries. He's going for the kill. It's going to be mass pure power plant, but no, the flame tank gets eliminated. The obelisk gets the kill, and the perfect strike there by the obelisk will get the elimination. Bikes coming in. The infantry will defend. Space, without ever finding an opportunity to do killer damage to BikeRushOwnz, is bleeding. But boy, oh boy, is he cutting BikeRush deeply so that BikeRush bleeds almost as much as himself. A couple of harvesters out on the field, 3 minutes or just over on the clock for this nuclear missile once again. Has Space been stealing this Tiberium? He might have been stealing that Tiberium with his sneaky stealthed harvesters. An additional MCV gets produced by Space, perhaps his 3rd of the game. His Redeemer engineering facility keeping the lights on, but not much more than that. It's a Redeemer and a Purifier joining forces, and BikeRushOwnz doesn't have the tech, doesn't have the production to rebuild his own Redeemer. Can the EMPs save Space? He keeps committing bikes to this northern expansion, but no! Once again, the rocket squads push them away. The unupgraded bikes of the Rusher will own the bikes of Space, pushing them again away once more. Oh, the EMP isn't even needed. He does it with the old-fashioned flame Tiberium mixture. It's going to be burning down the buildings as they come. The rocket squads will not save you this time. The EMPs aren't here for BikeRushOwnz. There's the cell. The Purifier and the Redeemer are here. The base race might be the only hope of BikeRushOwnz, but what little hope is there that remains? Rage Gen fires off its rocket squads, all or nothing. 1:40 on the clock, and no, there's the cell. There's the cell as the low power mode wreaks havoc upon BikeRushOwnz. Bikes get traded against the Redeemer. The Engineer might be the only hope to kill the Purifier and capture it with an Engineer. Might be the only hope of BikeRushOwnz to stop this assault. The Purifier goes down. BikeRushOwnz has the opportunity. There's the stealth field, the big kill on all of the infantry, and the Engineer does not get sniped. It's happening again. BikeRushOwnz with a single capture of a single husk might be able to turn this game around. Can he stop the Shredder turrets? The never-ending white beams of death coming to him from Space. As Space turns back around the one place uncorrupted by capitalism, and he brings the pain. The EMP absent from Space's arsenal as he cleans up bike after bike after bike, and looking to clean up bike once and for all. The Rage Gen fires off this Engineer, the little Engineer that could, almost losing this Redeemer to a Shredder turret in the back. And BikeRushOwnz unable to execute the perfect kill against Space on the right side of the map. BikeRushOwnz has suddenly and explosively run out of steam. Space has done it! He claims the win! He gets revenge on BikeRushOwnz, and Bike falls on Tournament Dustbowl. What a match between these two, starting out as typical as you can imagine a Black Hand versus a Marked of Kane match going. And then check this out. Space ekes ahead with, I'm guessing, that 3rd base coming up sooner. And despite the one-clicks, despite the setbacks, his harvester killing was good enough to keep him ahead for a good 10, almost 15 minutes of that game. BikeRushOwnz eventually closes the gap on the economy, scoots ahead, but by that point, it is nowhere near enough. 2.59, his Redeemer absolutely outlasting BikeRushOwnz. EMP playing a critical role in the first 25 minutes of the game or so, and not a role at all in the last couple of minutes. I thought it was going to be power plants built and sold in mass that saved Space from defeat, but it wasn't. It was just a good old-fashioned slow push, finding the opening, finding the weakness, and getting in there. Space owning BikeRushOwnz in that one game, but let's not kid ourselves. BikeRushOwnz gets the win most of the time, and for good reason, but Space growing up big time in 2021. Big thanks to these folks for playing this game. Great match between them with some Blackhand v Marked of Kane. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.